Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Hey there, just a quick message ahead of this episode to say we hope you like the rebrand, which includes a new website, rawuk.com. That's the URL. On there you can listen to and watch all our previous content. You can get extra content. You can also buy our first ever Raw merchandise and even sign up to become a Raw member, which will keep us going and keep you at the heart of this exciting journey, earning perks in return. We need your support, so please do check us out at rawuk.com and remember to like, comment and subscribe to everything we do on all our channels. And of course, make sure you tell all your pals. But most of all, enjoy this latest episode. Cheers. And you played at the Hacienda. We've heard endlessly about how amazing that club was, but at the risk of sounding like Adrian Durham on Talk Sport, was it all that?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, weekend-wise, I had no part of any of it, to be honest. That was very much a Mike Pickering. I think Graham Park used to be part of it now and again and things like that. And lots of other DJs, obviously. But they had their own little scene thing the weekend. And it was quite different. I mean, although they were playing lots I would be playing, but it was a very different scene to what I did. What I was doing various nights there when Run DMC were on, or Mantronics and people like that, and they needed, like a guest DJ with a bit of a name in between, some of the acts, and they were fantastic nights. They'd be all Trouble Funk and Full Force, and so it was quite a hip hoppy, funky sort of stuff, really. And I'd play some house and whatever, but yeah, it wasn't. Their weekends were quite different to what I was doing.
Well, you ended up playing places on the weekends, which were, your early Fantasia events, Amnesia House, those kind of things. What were they like for you in terms of the general excitement among ravers and the music scene and the atmosphere?
Yeah, they were just, excuse me, like you say, the excitement, that is a perfect word, because the atmosphere was just unbelievable. You just don't get that much today at all, because this is what it was like. Everything was new, everything. The ravers, there was no, it didn't matter how you danced, it didn't matter how you looked, really. It was just whatever, and you just did what you wanted to do. I just loved that. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then the atmosphere from that was incredible. And the other side that I loved is that all the music was new. This was new and really exciting music. From 1990 and then into 91 and then 92, it was really getting on. And musically, again, it was very British music. Lots of DJs making the music, and you just couldn't help but think, wow, this is amazing. I wish I'd have, go back and realised that you were part of something that was massive and going to be even bigger and all this sort of thing. I just turned up and DJ'd and really enjoyed myself, So that was it. Everything was exciting. The ravers were excited to be there. I was excited to be there in front of them and play music to make them excited. You know what I mean? It just went on like that. And even, back then, there's so many places to go and DJ at. I'd be in the car on the way home, absolutely buzzing, with tunes in my head that I'd played, lots of riffs and bass line. I'm just driving home, not playing any music. I thought, well, I've had 6 hours of this blasting. I'm just driving home with no music on, but it's all in the head going.
Wow.
It's just unbelievable times, really were. Really.
Yeah. Was it commercialism that made that change? You said it did change later on.
I think, I think it did, as time went on. There's only so much of, for anything to be that big, I suppose, people behind the scene would probably been very commercial anyway, but it wasn't seem like anything you were being ripped off or anything like that at the time. It was just excitement, But yeah, I think as time goes on, I suppose it wears a bit thin, you know. And I think you need the music to keep that going, really. You know, there's a lot of different genres and things, so that kind of changed it a bit, maybe.
Well, talking about different genres, I read another interview where you said in your early days on the rave circuit that Quest in Wolverhampton was a particular favourite, largely because of the black audience, and also it gave you a chance to play some more of the breakbeat stuff. Did you ever consider, like, given that you were well into black music as a youngster growing up, did you ever consider maybe going more down that route of jungle, breakbeat, and drum and bass? And why didn't you?
Because I like too many styles, you know, at the same time. I could never specialize. I'd hate, you know, I could never do that. I could never specialize in just the one thing. I'm thinking, so I'll play a bit of that and a bit of this and a bit of what, you know, I just couldn't do it. It could only be for that reason, really, you know, that to play, you know, I love when, I don't know, Groove Rider had come on and before me and plays whatever, and I go, oh yeah, brilliant. But to be honest, a whole night of it, after a while, I think, well, I just want to do something else now. You know what I mean? But I'd play my breakbeat hardcore of that time, and if it was Quest, I'd try and dig out the ones that had extra bass in it because their sound system was just unbelievable. Windows rattling everywhere. But yeah, it's just amazing. But yeah, I couldn't go down. Yes, I loved all that, but I love other things as well, house music, everything, you know.
So you've managed to do that, really, haven't you, for your career? You still play a whole host of different things. That sort of stands you out, really, as a bit of a, you know, on your own, really. Maybe,
I don't know. I'm sure there are others doing it. I don't know, really. But yeah, you do get sort of pigeonholed, saying, oh, you're a hardcore DJ. Well, no, I'm a DJ that plays hardcore. And I got it in the hip hop days, you know. So, he used to be a hip hop DJ, but then he went and played house. And I'm thinking, well, no, I was playing house, hip hop, so everything. So I played everything. I've never been a certain DJ, but some people, you know, might just go, oh, I prefer it when you're a hardcore DJ. That's fine. But yeah, I've always, you know, we had Kinetic in Stoke was an amazing Friday night, you know, mad hardcore night there. All the DJs in that, you know, style would be playing, and that was an unbelievable place, you know. So I would be playing my, you know, sort of more banging hardcore there, and then from there I'd go down to do a pandemonium night in Birmingham, and it'd be all breakbeats and bass lines and everything, you know what I mean? And then go down to the Sanctuary, you know, in Milton Keynes for the final gig, and again it'd be more breakbeats and whatever, but you're a little bit more south, so you change it slightly, and that's your night done, you know. But if I was stuck in one thing, I would have been very.
So there was a definite change. You would be guided by where you played in terms of what you played.
Yeah, it's all down to your audience, no matter where, really. You do notice Birmingham did like their breakbeats and bass. So you make sure you play it, you know, because that's what the crowd want. And, you know, if that is something I play. So you would, you know, you play to your audience. That's all the DJ should be doing, really, anyway. But you wouldn't play that up in Kinetic because they're going, no, we want it more, you know, full on, you know, and it's just different. So, yeah.
Did you find that hard to navigate and we'll talk more about the split a bit later on, but did you find that hard to navigate when the rave scene split? I mean, it was coming for some time, so you must have seen it happening, but you're sort of playing all the different types of music across all the different, you know, in the different areas. Was that because we've spoken to people in the past and they've said I had to choose? It was impossible to not choose, but you don't appear necessarily to have chosen. I suppose you don't do drum and bass, and so you did choose sort of.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, there's no. I mean, certain clubs, you know, like now, not so much then, but now and again, I would do. They would ask me to do. Can you do some, like, you know, throw in some drum and bass, which I will. In a sort of old breakbeat hardcore set, I'll love to throw in good 20, 25 minutes of drum and bass, you know, and then come out and carry on with the breakbeats. But back then, there was, people would probably just do it better than me anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be like Mickey Finn, Groove Rider, and whoever, you know, Jumping Jack Frost. You just think, well, they do it. They don't. You don't need me doing that, you know, to try and do a whole set and whatever, you know. But so I just left them to do it. You know, like I say, they'd be better than me anyway. So.
Okay. Well, as we're talking about all the different areas in the country, I want to continue to follow this path because it is interesting, and it's something that we try to reflect on this podcast. You've stated before that you rarely got gigs in the South, maybe in the Midlands and north of the Midlands. So why do you think that was? And is that a regret of yours at all?
No, I don't regret it, but there was plenty of times where, I was down in the South, Brighton, and they take a million hours to get to for 1 hour. You know, you do an hour set, 6 or 7 hours to get to Brighton, then do an hour, and say, right, see you, and then it's all the way back again. But yeah, there was, and that was at times the promoters would just keep the DJs fairly local to them because. Obviously, you'd want a few extra quid for driving all that way. They go, such and such, only does it for this. And I go, well, he lives 2 miles away, you know what I mean? So, yeah, there was a bit of that going on, you know. So, but yeah, there was plenty of times to play in the South, but it was more, obviously, the Midlands upwards, really. That was,
you did mention the Sanctuary. you played a bit, but a lot of people have been pointing out you didn't play that many Sanctuary events. You know, particularly the Skelters and the Dreamscapes. At some point, they don't remember you booked for either of those.
I can't remember. At the Sanctuary, I can't remember the actual organisations that put me on there, but there was quite a few. I remember. Mickey Linus, R.I.P. He booked me quite a few times in there. I'm sure there was a Dreamscape night. Helter Skelter, possibly. I know there was one flyer with my name on it, but I don't know if I'll actually play.
I saw a flyer from '92 in Telford, and a really early Helter Skelter that you played. But I think beyond that, it doesn't. We couldn't find any evidence of you having played for them.
There was I'd seem to. Yeah, now you mention it, maybe I wasn't on loads of their events for some reason. I have no idea why. It never over bothered me, that sort of thing. It's up to them who wants to book me. I still feel that to this day, you know what I mean? I never moan about it. But,
well, Darren Johnson, he left a comment on our Facebook page, when we ask for questions, and by the way, if you want to ever ask any of our future guests any questions, we always announce them before we do them, and then we ask for questions, so get on our social media accounts. But Darren Johnson says on Facebook, Stu's a legend. I got to know him when I won the UK scene DJing competition in the noughties, and he played a mix on his radio show. I only got to know of him when I moved to the Midlands. He didn't seem to feature down south. With this in mind, is there a southern rave that he would have loved to have played but didn't?
I don't know, is the honest answer, because you don't really get to hear. I suppose there's always something going on. There was some of them were in, like Finsbury Park and those sorts of things, although I have done the odd one of those. But going back to the sort of early 90s era, I suppose it would have been nice to do those sort of stuff, in a big park event would have been quite nice. But it never overbothered me not being on them, if you see what I mean. I didn't feel left out or anything, because there was so much stuff going on, Donington Park and Fantasia and Pandemonium, and what I mean? It was just unreal back then. So I never thought, no, never felt like that. No.
Well, of all of the promoters that you've played for, who has been your favourite and why?
It's very difficult to pick, because you pick one and then the other one goes, well, I thought we were all right. And I say, yeah, you were. But no, I think I'll just stick with my favourite sort of thing would be the Eclipse in Coventry, although they did their own nights as well as Amnesia House doing nights there, and loads of people actually used the venue that's a lot of them started to promote there. So I'll just, if there's going to be a favourite, I'll go for the Eclipse in Coventry as a venue, promotion, experience, and the way it's helped me, without a doubt. From 1990, it was DJing there, like I probably said earlier. And if it wasn't, I think if it wasn't for playing there quite regular as well, I was there at least twice a month at times. And, from that, other promoters see and hear and watch the reaction when I'm on, and then book me from that, and it just exploded from there, really. So that will always have a place in my heart, definitely, was the Eclipse in Coventry.
Okay, well, we less favourably, we've all heard stories about dodgy promoters. Did any promoters ever try and rip you off?
Oh, yeah, there's always, with us DJs have always had a little discussion about these things. That, yeah, like you turn up and the place will be closed. Or, that's as bad as that. Or there was one time I did, I don't know where it was, somewhere Midlands-ish anyway, as usual. And then I was really struggling for time to get to the next event, which was in Hull. And I remember doing, it was like 110 down the motorway to get to Hull. Managed to get there on time and all the rest of it. It broke me neck getting there. Place was ready, did a little there, got there, and the promoter just said, are you not on tonight? When you know damn well you were, you know what I mean? And you just say, oh God, and there's nothing you can do apart from kill him, really, you know what I mean? Which I wanted to do at the time, just smash his face in. But yeah, there was loads of that going on. There wasn't loads, to be honest.
What would you do in that situation if someone did stitch you up or treat you poorly or whatever? Is there a rule there that you're like, well that's it. No, I'm not playing for you ever again?
Yeah, there will be that for that. That's you do get or bounce checks and really stupid things that you look back on. You think, well, I shouldn't have had that check or whatever. Or through an agency that should have looked after you better.
Right.
That I suppose I was a bit naive at times, even though I've been in it a long time. That sort of thing. You can't help. People get ripped off in lots of ways. Buying a dodgy car or something like that, and you just got to think, oh, well, it's just how it was, But luckily, they were in the minority, and promoters on the whole were pretty good, but you do get the bad ones.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's like all life, I suppose.
Yeah.
You are known, I mean, you talk about breaking your neck to get between venues. You are known for playing as many as like 8 gigs a weekend, particularly in that era. And then you presented the radio show every Sunday night and got yourself down to the record shop, spin in Manchester on a, to collect your vinyl to play on the show. No sleep at all, very little sleep. How did you manage it?
It must have been just purely because I loved it and needed to do it, because if I didn't, especially for the radio side of it, a radio show wouldn't have happened. It was just a necessity. I don't know how, looking back, it must have been adrenaline, possibly. I just got on with it. And, like on a Friday.
So what you're saying, Stu, you're saying there was no help from some substances?
No. I know, I mean, everyone, I won't say everyone, but you do go, oh, you must have been on something, you look like you're off your head there, and all that. But I can honestly, truthfully say I've never, ever taken anything whatsoever.
Really?
I don't even like, we've all like a drink now and again, but that's as far as I used to smoke cigarettes up until 96, and that was my only thing. Well,
it's quite a common refrain, actually, a surprisingly common refrain among artists, that they didn't touch anything, and whether we're going to take them on their word and believe them.
I know a few who did, but
well, yeah, maybe they're lying to me. But it's interesting. Why did you never do anything? Because it was so integral to the rave scene.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it is. As I don't know. I suppose it's just me being with my professional head on, I suppose. I do it now. I will never even have alcohol while I'm DJing because my head's got to be straight. I've got to know what I'm doing. And, as soon as I drive everywhere, so I won't drink anyway. But if I'm DJing abroad, I still won't touch anything until I've finished my set. And then I'll go, right, let's go to the bar, that kind of thing. But I've always got to have my head straight to do my job, really, and that's the only way I can. It's just a profession. It's just a professional thing. It's just me, any time I would, I have enough sleep before the radio, or, what I mean? All these things, I've just got to do it correctly so I can do my job properly.
But you weren't getting enough sleep before the radio show.
No,
that's the point.
I was younger then, though.
Well, that's true. Did you never tire of that relentless, endless schedule?
No, I never thought. There was at times where you would sort of go, I've got a holiday booked in October. You do sort of, as you're driving along or something, but not while you're DJing. But yeah, I just did it, and I loved doing it. I never, at the time, just thought, this is great. I just did it. I just got on with it. Did the gigs on a Friday night. There might be, 3, even 4, if depending. Saturday day would come along. I'd get up the next morning after literally about 3 hours kit, really. Go into Manchester, pick up my records from spinning, go home, listen to them as best as possible, see what good ones are in there for the Sunday night show. Go through that, or even Saturday night gig, you know what I mean? So they're all brand new things. And then go out, all night on a Saturday night, come home, 8, 9, 10 in the morning, a couple of hours kit, prepare the Sunday show, know what I'm going to do with the 2 mixes I used to do on the Sunday show, and prepare the other bits, and then letters. People used to write letters in those days, and go through all those, and then prepare and go in on a Sunday night and do a show. It was like, it was pretty sort of autopilot, you think, right, I had a format of a show, play these, try and say the right things, try not to talk too much bollocks, and then that's it, at the end of the show, and flop, and that was it. That was, and gigs and everything through the week as well. It was just never ending back then. Great times, to be honest, yeah.
We really hope you're enjoying yet another one of Raw's in-depth interviews about the rave scene, which we are proud to say are now all curated into the British Library Sound Archive. All of us here at Raw HQ love how much you love what we do, and your generous one-off donations have been a huge help in covering our initial costs. But we're now a team of 5, putting in a combined 80 hours a week for no wages, with big plans to expand further, and so our costs are going up. As such, we could really use your help to keep Raw growing and developing, as you've seen us do since our launch in July 2020. First up, go and check out our brand new website. It's rawuk.com, where you can find loads of cool extra content, and you can grab Raw's first ever range of merchandise. That's rawuk.com for our new flashy website. We've also launched a new membership scheme where you can support us financially to create more content on an ongoing basis for less than the price of an oat milk cappuccino, plus you get great perks in return. Head to patreon.com/rawukpods. That's patreon.com/rawukpods to see exactly what's on offer. You can also join our YouTube membership, which is basically the same, or if you're not asked about a membership but you'd like to support us with a few quid as a one-off or a repeat donation, then head to our website and click the PayPal link. A reminder of that new website URL, yet again, rawuk.com. Big love and respect to you all. Please keep supporting us. Hope you enjoy the rest of the act. So, Stu, you are known for being incredibly versatile as a DJ, as we've covered so far in this interview. You're playing across lots of different styles, and it must mean that you've met an incredible range of famous DJs and MCs, acts, promoters, and they don't come much more famous than your old mate Carl Cox. So, how did you come to be so close to Carl? And obviously, he's from Oldham originally, Manchester, so that would be a part of it. But
well, no, I don't. You don't know that until you get to know him, really, because he's hardly got the accent, has he, really? But no, we just keep bumping into each other in the early days, back in, tail end 1990, really. Similar age, lots in common. He likes you know, his early days was, you know, soul and funk, which it would be because there was no house music. And he just progressed through the rave scene as well. And we just liked the same music. And, you know, when you just click with someone and having a laugh, that's what we did, really. And we really enjoyed it. And it was always amusing to do. If he was on before me, he would dig out tunes he knew I was going to play just to piss me off. So, you know, you sort of reciprocate that on the next gig and go, right, I'm going to play this now. No, and you go, you bastard, you know. And it was just fun, you know, really good laugh. And yeah, we got on really, really well. I used to go, he used to live in a place called Horsham, and I came on his management company at the time. And so he used to have this long drive on a day off during the week, on a Monday or a Tuesday or something, and go down and see him there, and we'd just mess about doing whatever, did a radio show on some student thing and whatever. And then if he was over my way, he did a gig somewhere up in, don't know where he was, towards Scotland or something. So it was a long drive for him. And it was on a Sunday. And I wish we could still do these sort of things now, but he's too big now and all this kind of thing. But I was at home on a Sunday afternoon, and and he just phoned me up and he said, I'm in a place near Oldham now. Funny enough, because that's where he was born. But he said, I'm in a place near Oldham. He said, you don't live too far away. I said, no, I'm only about 5 miles. I told him where I lived and everything. So he drove up, and they were just sitting. I mean, I'd made a Sunday roast and everything, you know, ready, and just put an extra plate for Carl Cox. You know, it was just, but he was my mate. It wasn't like, superstar. But you know,
even superstar DJs have to eat, Stu.
Exactly. But it was great. You know, just little sort of stories like that. I wish we could still be doing now. Do you know what I mean? It's a shame.
Yeah. But... Well, I mean, he lives in Australia, and he's stuck in Australia. He can't move. He can't leave. So, has fame changed him at all?
Surprisingly, not. He's obviously able to do a lot of things. That fame and trappings can allow you to do, you know, doing his extra things like motorcycles and whatever. But, and obviously, you know, his home and stuff. But no, as a person, it's still Carl. And what was great that he was doing, you know, he's doing these live set things, you know, Facebook Lives and whatever they were.
Cabin.
And he was playing a load of stuff on vinyl from 92 era, you know, all that rave stuff from that. And he dug out one of my old tunes and mentioned me. And, you know, he said, here's one of Stu Allan's old tunes, you know, and all this kind of thing. And, yeah, you know, he knew the tunes. Well, you know, he hasn't changed like that. You know, you could just, I'm only playing techno now, and he only knows that. But he dug out all these tunes. He probably hadn't played for a while or whatever, but he knew where to mix them in still, and you know, and what to play. And it was Carl back in the day on, you know, in 2020. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, so he obviously famously took the decision to leave hardcore in the mid-90s. What drove that? He
just knew, I think, that if you want to extend your career or go further, I think, as a lot of DJs would be really, if you were to just stick to that one thing, that you're limited. I think, and depending on how far you want to go, you could never be, I don't think, a world famous, you know, crossing boundaries type DJ by playing happy hardcore. You know what I mean? And it just wouldn't. It was such a, I know there's lots of venues all over the world before everybody has a go, that, you know, that do play happy hardcore and this and this. But Carl had plans. He was changing from around 93, really, his sort of style of DJing. And he said to me then, he said, and he was doing certain gigs for virtually nothing, just so he could play a different style of music. Because they're going, well, Carl, not playing that. No, he just went, let me do it. Just let me play this and see how it goes.
Wow.
See how it goes. And that's how it was. And he was doing it for much less money. And he just said, I remember him saying to me, he said, it might not be what they like, at the moment, he says, but they're going to get into it. They're going to get into it. And bang, that was it.
So, a real visionary.
Yeah, he definitely knew that if he stuck to that thing, he just wouldn't. It would not have been the DJ he is now, without a doubt. He, because you've seen where over the many years since, how incredibly successful he is and deserves it. Deserves every moment.
Could you tell that he was going to be as successful as that when he first decided to go that direction?
I don't know about how successful. I knew he was going to, because who'd have thought? God,
well, yes, indeed.
I mean, so world famous. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. But yeah, without a doubt, he was kind of it's like some pop stars or whatever. They're sort of destined to be very successful, and Carl is that in DJ form, in my mind, even right back from the early days. Carl would walk in into a rave on the way to the DJ box, and people would stop and watch. You know what I mean? He's just got an aura,
right.
And a fantastic DJ at the same time. So,
did you never? Because you obviously talked about his departure from the scene, and he was saying, "Look, I'm going to do this, mate. I think there's probably a limited future in hardcore, so I'm going to go there." Did you never consider joining him or copying him, thinking this guy is a visionary? I'm going to follow behind and do this.
Yeah, wait for me. No, it wasn't me because I still like playing the hardcore. Even that, I was thinking, okay, there probably isn't that, but I was playing house as well and this, and I still had the radio show, which was hugely successful as a radio show. So, it wouldn't be me to sort of, right, I'm going to ditch all this and try and be a world famous DJ. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It just wouldn't, it's not me really,
Well, while we're on the subject of Carl Cox, Nigel Betts on Facebook has asked, like Carl Cox, you use your own name for DJing at events. What was it that made you not decide to use a made-up DJ name like a lot of them did, for instance, DJ Vibes, DJ Seduction, the list goes on? Yeah,
well, they came quite a lot later than me and Carl, really. We're older than them. Okay. And it was kind of, apart from some of the hip-hop DJs in the early 80s or whatever, when you come out as DJing in the early 80s, there weren't many that were called, I don't know, there weren't many DJ Vibes and Seductions in that era. Do you know what I mean? So that's all it was, really. You never thought of. Some people changed their second name if they didn't think it suited a star sort of sounding name or whatever. But I've just been Stu Allan all my life, so it's just me. You know what I mean? I wasn't, and I've never been a famey sort of guy anyway. Really, I quite, kind of shy away from a lot of it. I've never sort of, jumped in people's faces and look at me, you know what I mean? So, Stu Allan's fine. As long as you spell it right.
Indeed. Who else then, apart from Carl, in terms of artists and promoters, have become your close friends over the years? And what qualities do they possess that make them such good friends to you?
Not that many, although they are, they are friends. I just, mind you, this pandemic, I haven't seen anybody closer for a long time.
No one has, mate. You must have met some interesting characters as well during your time in the rave scene. Is there anyone in particular that stands out for you? They don't have to be your friends. They can just be bonkers.
Oh, there's loads of them. Where would we be without them? You know what I mean? But, no, God, that's really difficult. You do sort of see over the years certain people who not follow you, but they are at your events quite often and can look a bit strange and act a bit strange, but I love it because they're enjoying their night. They paid and gone into that night and thought, fuck everyone, I'm going to enjoy this, you know what I mean? And I love them for that. So, but they're in my mind. I can, oh yeah, I remember him before, and that sort of thing. But it'd be horrible to describe them further because I don't, I'm not going to make fun of anybody. But yeah, they are amusing to watch, some of them.
I bet, and I think they may be the ones that do drugs too. I suspect.
If they don't, then not a strange upbringing.
Well, that's sort of they're not mutually exclusive, to be honest. And Mike Woolley on Facebook asked the inevitable question: what's your view on MCs?
Oh God, generally a pain in the arse, but there are some who are absolutely fine. They know when to stop, and they know when to speak. Like when the singing's on, there's all kinds of things. But some of them are brilliant because they can fire up an atmosphere. It's just the way the rave scene became. There's MCs were on, getting the crowds going. It added to the atmosphere back then. And I think when you're there, I get this problem. If I was to play an old set of mine from way back on the radio, and it's got an MC on it, it does sound pretty shit on the radio, to be honest. Someone where you want to hear the tunes and all you hear is over the music. So, yeah, but I'm thinking, but you should have been there. If you were there on the night, it depends on the MC, of course, but when it's a good MC and saying whatever, it works. And having said that, there's a few, there was one I heard of mine a bit ago, and he had Robbie D on it. And he was so entertaining, just listening to what he was saying, absolutely mental stuff, So, yeah, like I say, it depends, doesn't it, really? But in general, they do get in the way. They can do. And there's too many of them, anyway, that just think they can do stuff.
And so which are those favourites of yours that you were hinting at? Is it who
Robbie
really
D back in the day. Yeah. If you go to Doncaster, it's got to be MC Nats. He is just like their local hero. But a very different style. As if you went down south, they'd be going, well, that's a bit different. But then you've got MC Domino in the Manchester northwest area, who's really good at just getting he really reacts with the crowd. And then you've got, of course, your Rat Packs, Everson, Mad P and Top Buzz, what I mean? It's all part of their act, and they're great. There's not a problem there. But it's just when you get some kid says, "Kids are going on the mic," and it's a massive no.
Well, have you ever unplugged? Have you ever unplugged a mic?
Yes, I have. There was a guy. There is actually a video on Facebook somewhere, and I was in Blackpool, and I was just playing some northern piano-y stuff, and everyone's going, "Oh yeah, great," and everything. And it broke down to the nice piano and vocal bit, and there's these two MCs go, and then the other one grabbing the mic off him, all over the vocal, the pianos and everything, and they weren't even fucking booked. I thought, right, what's anything just to start with, and then realised after. So yeah, the mic was taken off and just thrown into the sea, and that's no word of a lie.
It was thrown in the sea.
Yeah, because we were on a pier. We were on Blackpool Pier, and I thought, how the fuck? And they weren't even booked. They were just. I just thought they would. Sometimes you just go, oh god, fucking MC's on again.
So what was the reaction? What was the reaction to you throwing the mic in the sea?
They just had to walk off. There's not a lot you could do about it. So I just thought, just stop. And unfortunately, that bit was a video, but someone was videoing. We just thought, but it does pop up every now and again on Facebook, and everyone just pisses themselves.
Brilliant. And in terms of DJs, of all the many thousands of gigs and artists that you've shared a bill with, is there any DJ or act or set that you just love to take in before you leave and drive on to the next one, if you are indeed have time to do so?
Yeah, generally you don't. You see, once I've done my bit, I'll just let the next one get on with it. But there's no one. It just depends again. But generally, I don't hang around too. I do for people to talk to everybody. Always do that. I'd always get there to a gig where this is how I'm a bit OCD really, but I like to get to a gig about half an hour before I go on, so I can see the crowd, see how they're reacting to the DJ that's on, and obviously listen to what he's playing, so I don't play the same tunes. Talk to people, all these things. Just Mr. Profession, Mr. Boring for professional DJ. But then I'll do my bit, hang around for a little bit longer. But yeah, it depends who's on, to be honest with you.
Were there any DJs that you always would be a bit nervous following because they were so good?
God. I don't know about actual names, but the thing is, if I'm to go on, sometimes you get these little sort of festival nights going on. There's one, it's like a 90s festival in Magna near Leeds way, Rotherham, I think it is. I've always put in the sort of the rave, 90s rave area, area and stuff. And there's like Slipmat and last time it was people like, oh God, they were like a speed garage guy. I know the guys. One Next Zone Lockdown. And they were there and a completely different style to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not going to play any speed garage. I just don't do that. I love it, but I don't. They were playing fantastic tunes as well. And I was like, how the fuck do you follow that? So it's more that scenario than being nervous by a certain DJ. You know what I mean? I'd never get nervous by any person. It's just like, oh God, they're going to like throw bottles of Coke at me and whatever, but luckily it doesn't normally turn out. But yeah, when a style is completely different, or, someone's playing like mad 190 BPM happy hardcore and I'm going to go on and play slower hardcore, like 170, that kind of thing.
Well, let's flip that question for our last question of this part. Is Simon Higgs on Twitter asks, who was your favourite DJ to play after and why? Was there a DJ where you always knew that the crowd was going to be buzzing at that point, so it was a great one to go on next?
Yeah, again, I don't. I think it's always nice to sort of blend from somebody. I suppose somebody like. Say Rob Tessera, he's from Leeds and plays around the north. He plays a similar vibe to what I would do, I suppose, if it's that style. God, not very good with remembering names. Well, know who they are, but thinking of in this situation. But and it's really difficult, No, I think if it's like someone with a similar vibe, then that's always better. Because sometimes, there's nothing worse than going on and the DJ isn't doing very well. Your crowd's drifting, they're getting a bit bored, and then you have to go on and warm up for yourself. You know what I mean? You go on you've wasted the first 20 minutes by playing stuff you didn't really want to play. You just got to get the crowd going first, and then you can start, So yeah, I don't like doing that, even though that wasn't your question.
Well, that's it for another episode of Raw, and if you like what you've heard, we'd love you to get involved. All of us here at Raw HQ buzz hard of how much you, the Raw crew, enjoy our work, and your generous cash donations have been a huge help since our launch. But we're now a team of 5, putting in combined 80 hours a week for no wages. We've got loads of plans to go further, expand our team and offer, but that does mean that our costs are also increasing. So we could really use your help to keep Raw growing and developing, as you've done since we started. So please do check out our website. Initially, it's rawuk.com for interesting extra content and to get your hands on our first ever range of Raw merchandise. That's rawuk.com. We've also launched a new membership scheme where you can donate to create more interesting and fun content on an ongoing basis, and you'll even get stuff in return. So head to patreon.com/rawukpods. That's patreon.com/rawukpods to see what's on offer. You can also join our YouTube membership, which is the same, or if you're not bothered about membership but you'd like to support us with a few quid as a one-off or repeat donation, head to our website and click the PayPal link. That website URL, one more time, rawuk.com. Respect to you for your support and for getting to the end of this episode. Please keep supporting us and help ensure there's more quality content coming your way on a regular basis. Oi oi!